What's going on, everybody? It's a special Saturday morning open spoiler discussion for Mandalorian Chapter 13, and I cannot wait to get into this. And as always, I got my special guest here for Mando Open Spoiler Discussions. Let's welcome in Jake. What's going on, Jake? How you doing?
Good. How are you? Good morning.
I'm doing good. I'm waking up a little bit. I took a little nap before this to make sure I was good to go. So I'm waking up, man. But I'm excited to talk this episode. I can't wait to get into all this, man. It is just, in a word, awesome. Before we get into all of that, I'm gonna do some of the quick business stuff, and then we'll get into the whole episode and everything. So that being said, business stuff, guys. We are streaming live right now on Facebook Live. We're streaming on YouTube. We're streaming on Twitch. And you guys, of course, can comment in the comment sections below at any point on the show. We will interact with you live on the air today. Also, another way, if you want to interact with the show, and the best way, of course, as I like to always say, you can use the tip link being streamlabs.com/movieidiot. When you use the tip link, you're interacting with the show, you're helping support the show, and we really appreciate that. And so we're going to just jump right into this, man. This is, the way I look at it, the episode that so many people who are into Star Wars we're looking forward to, Jake. And it's the Ahsoka episode, and we all knew it was coming, right? And it was.
I thought it was 1 week later.
Yep, we did. It ended up being episode 5, so the rumor I heard was right. So I actually got something right for a change. But so the big Ahsoka episode, and just before we get into the whole thing, oh, nice. So before we get into the whole thing, just your opening thoughts. Go. Just
Great episode. You got the classic lightsaber. I was so pumped just to see some lightsabers in the show. Good fighting. Just a well-rounded episode. It was just a great episode. We'll get into it more, but I really enjoyed it. I did hope at the end that she would be like, I'll come with you. But, yeah. I don't think we've seen the last of Ahsoka.
Yeah, which I think we kind of knew going into this that, because I had heard, and I think a lot of us have heard, it was going to be a one-off, right? Like, she wasn't going to be in the whole series. So that was kind of a bummer, but we'll get into all that. So my kind of opening thoughts, I agree. Just a great episode. I love how it started. It got right into it. It wasted no time. And that's the other thing I was kind of like worried about, is that they were going to kind of like slowly make their way into it. No, they just jumped. Boom, from go, got right into the action. And so I guess I'll start there. So yeah, episode starts and it's Ahsoka whooping ass right away. Like, she was just tearing fools up. And especially there's one point in particular where she's got both lightsabers. I'm dueling the lightsabers. So anybody who's seen Rebels has seen the white lightsabers. And she slices the tree in 2 spots and then uses the force to push out that block of wood into the next guy, and the tree falls down on itself and sits there for a second and then falls over. That scene was fucking great. I was like, oh my god, that is cool looking. So she's tearing all these guys up and goes through basically this whole like little mini army or henchman or whatever, and then she gets up to the stronghold of the village, where you meet kind of the baddie of this episode, which I thought that lady did a great job. What a very good, for a villain that we may not even see again. I felt like she did a wonderful job. So really good casting on that one. Apparently that's like Bruce Lee's goddaughter or something. I don't even know. I heard some kind of weird rumor on that, but kind of a no-name actress, because I looked her up. I'm like, what is she in? She's like in almost nothing. But that's another thing that the Mandalorian does. A lot of times they'll pull out people who just haven't been in a whole lot of stuff. So so she meets the baddie, and basically I forget her name. Damn it. Anyway, the villain of the thing, she says, Ahsoka says to her, she's like, hey, you know what I want. And she says, well, what is that information worth to you? Because I'm willing to kill like 100 people before you can ever have it. And Ahsoka says, well, you basically have one day, and she leaves. So that's the end of the opening scene. But a great opening scene just to jump right into the episode. And again, the biggest episode we've all been waiting for with Ahsoka Tano. And before I go any further than that, what did you think of the look of Ahsoka? Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka Tano.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, I thought so too. I had heard some people kind of critiquing, because like you can tell like there's some of the creases in the, I don't even know what you call those.
The Leku.
Yeah. So you can see, so they're like, oh, it looks kind of foam rubberish. But honestly, for me, I thought that was awesome for Star Wars because it reminded me so much of Jedi. The guy who's with Jabba in the beginning of Jedi, when he has the long like tail thing around his neck or whatever you want to call it, and it kind of looked
Bib Fortuna.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it looked a lot like that, and I honestly think that's perfect for Star Wars. I thought, you know, it having the little creases in it, it looked exactly what that stuff looked, and that's one of the things that I love about Mandalorian is they do a great job of trying to keep everything looking like original Star Wars, and so I thought that was great.
Yeah, they definitely it pays homage to the classics. Mm-hmm. I thought the same thing when I was watching it. I was like, let's see, the creases. I was like, they could have easily digitally done that out so it looks smooth. I was like, so they obviously made a conscious choice to leave it in there.
Yeah.
You know, and I do think like, yeah, it would have looked better if they made it more lifelike, but they didn't, and I like it. So you know, it's like they could have made it look like skin.
Yeah,
you know, skin.
Yeah.
But I liked it. I thought, but I think she looked. I like if Ahsoka grew up, that's what she would have looked like. Yep. So I think they nailed it. They didn't go. I was glad they didn't go like overboard with it.
Yeah.
Because you know it was bringing a 3D character to the screen is always it's a tough sell, because sometimes you're like, that's the interpretation they took.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought they nailed it. It was great. She looked like a believable person.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing with the look is the eyes. A lot of people were worried about the eyes because she has bigger eyes in the show.
Yeah.
But obviously you're not going to make Rosario Dawson's eyes look like this big. But I honestly thought it looked great as well. Just, again, seeing Ahsoka in live action, it was just phenomenal. And again, like we've been saying all along, the casting of Rosario Dawson was just perfect. Just perfect. Mm-hmm. She crushed it. So, all right. So we get past that scene, the opening scene. We get to then Mando coming in on the planet. He comes in, drops down, and heads towards the village. And of course, he's, you know, as they're landing, he's telling the kid, okay, get in your seat. And the kid gets in the seat, and then he uses the Force to take that little metal ball. That thing's going to keep reoccurring.
The shifter knob?
Yeah, the shifter knob, yeah. I think that thing's going to keep reoccurring throughout this whole thing. So he uses the Force to get that. And then, you know, they get outside the ship, and he's like, oh, hey, you know, I thought I told you that's supposed to stay in the ship. So Mando takes it from him and pockets it. They head into the village, and then you get into
By the way, right there, I was like, plot device.
Right? Yeah, I mean, sometimes they're very on the nose with that, but I guess they kind of have to be. I don't know.
You have to. Yeah, absolutely. I was like, oh, that's going to come into play in a little bit.
Yeah, they definitely were. That was very on point. So they get to the village, and he said, you know, he gets to the outer gate of the village, and he says, you know, I'm here. What did he say? He basically said that he was bounty hunter. Thank you. God, I can't think right now.
Yeah. He says I'm a hunter.
Yeah, he says I'm a hunter, you know, just passing through, basically. They're like, okay, you can come through. They ask him if he's guild. He's like, as far as I know, which they should have immediately been like, as far as you know, but instead they're like, oh, yeah, sure, fine, come on in, you know.
Yeah, come on in. You look good.
Yeah.
You look legit.
Yeah, so they let him in, and he starts talking to people, and he wants to know where Ahsoka is, and the villagers are freaking out, like nobody will speak to him. The one old guy in the village, you know, he's like, hey, stop talking to us, and as soon as he does that, then the two soldiers come up behind him. Now, you might be able to answer this better. I think those soldiers have been seen before in Star Wars, that type of soldier. Is that correct?
I've never seen them.
No, okay, all right. I thought somebody, I had seen something earlier last night saying that there was either maybe it's one of the robots or something that we've seen something from her henchmen or soldiers or whatever in Star Wars before. But anyway, all right, I digress. They take. She wants to see the magistrate wants to see him, so the big baddie wants to see him. They take him to her, and she's before he can even say it, because he's gonna ask her, "Hey, where's the Jedi?" And she's like, "Hey, I have a Jedi problem. Can you kill her?" So very convenient.
Yeah, I can.
Okay. So he takes the job, so to speak, and he's like, "Well, it's very pricey." And she's like, "Well, check this out," and she hands him the spear. And the spear is pure Beskar. It was really cool, the spear, when he like clanged it on his armor too, and it made that cool sound. And you knew that was going to come into play later. Again, very on the nose plot points, right? So she, tells him you can have the spear if you do it. He agrees and heads off. And he's like, well, where can I find her? Her main security dude or whatever brings him out to the forest, and he goes out into the forest, and then they kind of zoom away from that. So we get to him walking through the forest, and out of nowhere, here comes Ahsoka, and they have a mini battle scene, which I thought was awesome, by the way. Yeah, that was really cool. One little thing, so you know how he like the cool thing too is how Beskar can repel the lightsabers, which I didn't know that was a thing, so apparently that's a thing.
You can't cut through it.
Yeah, so
with the lightsaber.
Yeah, so Beskar can repel lightsabers. And the other thing, the thing that I thought was a little far-fetched was when he wrapped her up, and then she jumped over the tree and like pulled him up like a pulley. She doesn't weigh nearly as much as he does in Beskar armor, so I feel like that was a bit of a stretch, but it was still such an awesome scene. She just smiled and then jumped.
Yeah.
And dude, again, watching her fight, it's straight out of Clone Wars and Rebels.
Yeah, she had to have done some like actual. There had to be some amount of training.
Yes.
Like a significant amount of training.
Which you can definitely, because this episode was written and directed by Dave Filoni. So he was all over it. And just her fighting style and everything fit perfectly with what Ahsoka Tano does. It was awesome. So they had that little mini fight. And finally, like, she's getting ready to just take him out, and he's like, Ahsoka Tano, and he says her name, and she freezes, and then he's like, hey, I've been looking for you. And I love her line. She just looks over at Baby Yoda and goes, well, I hope it's about him. So, which, again, you can then tell that she can already feel the Force coming off of this kid. And yeah, so they get through that, cut to the next scene. Ahsoka and Baby Yoda are sitting there, and they're not saying a word. And Mando is pacing back and forth, which I love.
Yeah, I love how he walks away, comes back, looks.
Yeah.
Walks away, come back, looks.
Yep, I love that. That was awesome. So he's pacing back and forth. They're not saying a thing. All of a sudden, and she's just kind of looking at him. Baby Yoda's looking back at her. She smiles. She picks him up, brings him over by the fire, and sits down. And then Mando starts asking. He's like, well, is he speaking? Like, can you understand him? And she's like, well, in a way. And then she drops the bomb and she says his name. She says Grogu. And this is the first time we've ever heard Baby Yoda's name. And going into this episode, this was the Ahsoka Tano episode, right? Ahsoka Tano episode. That was the big hype. In one line of dialogue, they took this whole episode and made it not about her. They made it all about Grogu, Baby Yoda. He has a name now, and it totally shifted the entire focus, I thought anyway, of the whole episode onto him. What did you think about that? Just right off the top.
I liked it. It's finally not Baby Yoda. I mean, he'll always be Baby Yoda, but now it's Grogu. I think it's cemented now that he is going to be like the focal point of the series.
Yeah.
Rather than I have to get him to somewhere and then that's it. So I think it just further cements his importance in the entirety of the show.
Yeah, it definitely, yeah, like he's now the co-star. It's not just, he's not a plot point or an ongoing plot device that's going to go away. He is the main co-star now. And the name, not sure, like Grogu, you know, like I told you earlier, like at first I thought she said Goku. I was like, is that Goku? But still, I mean, he's got a name. It's a, you know, if his names go, it's fine. It's whatever. But yeah, so she starts talking to him a little bit more. So she's like, you know, can he still wield the Force? And he's like, well, he can do things I've never seen before with his powers. And she's like, well, they're not really his powers. So so you get some Force explanation there, some exposition on that. The name drop of Yoda. She's like, I've only seen, you know, one of his kind before, and that was a great master, and that was Master Yoda. So obviously, you know, you probably knew that was going to come. And then she basically starts saying, she tells him she wants to sleep on it, and they'll go over it all in the morning. So fast forward to the morning, they wake up, and she starts doing a little bit of training with him just to kind of see where he's at. So she picks up the stone, she floats the stone over to Baby Yoda, he catches it, she asks him to then float the stone back to her, which he won't do, he just drops it and hangs his head. And she starts talking about how he's been hiding his powers for years so he doesn't get caught, and that she senses a lot of fear in him, and she's, you know, so then she asks Mando to come over and then see if he can get it. And so Mando picks up the stone, and he's like, well, he's stubborn, he won't listen to me. And she's like, we'll try. And then he holds out the stone and asks him to do it, and she's like, Grogu, say his name, Grogu. So I
like how right away he's like, come on, kid.
Yeah, he's like, come on, kid. She's like, Grogu. So, you know, he holds out the stone, asks him to float the stone over, and you know, the kid again won't do it. So then she's like, you really need to connect with him, and then there's your plot point. So he pulls out the little shiny shifter knob or whatever and holds that, which I feel like the kid just really wants the shiny shifter knob. It isn't so much connecting with Mando. He's just like, ooh, shiny ball, I love this thing.
That's my favorite toy.
Yeah, so then but still, I get where they were going with it. So he pulls the thing over, and then she goes over and, you know, kind of like holds his hands a little bit, and she goes, I can't train him. And Mando's like, why not? And she's like, well,
I knew exactly what was coming.
Yep, I knew too, you know, and it's, you know,
I was like, yeah.
Fear is the path to, as soon as she said before, I sense much fear in him, she's like, fear is the path to the dark side. And she's like, I've seen other beings before, you know, and Mando says, well, that's why you have to train him. She's like, no, that's exactly why I don't, because when a Jedi is fully trained and they have this fear in them, I've seen what that can do.
Yeah, because she even made a reference to Darth Vader.
Yeah,
that was. She said, I think it was the best of us or something like that. Yeah,
the best of us. And it was right after that line. Yep. So she said, I've seen to the best of us. Yep, good call. Yeah, so that was the indirect but direct reference to Anakin and Darth Vader there.
That's why I have this today with us.
Oh, all right.
We got the...
Nice. Oh, dude, that's awesome. All right, so she says she won't train him. Mando's like, well, you know, you need my help right now, and I need your help, so why don't I help you with this problem? And then, so again, the Mandalorian plot description for every single episode.
The whole show.
Every single episode's the same thing. So, you know, you need my help, I need your help, why don't I help you, and you can help me? So she just reluctantly agrees to that. But she never said, if you notice, she never said she'd train him. She just kind of agrees to, like,
I'll think about if you help me, I'll think about it.
Yeah. So then, okay, so forward again, because you know she's coming back to the town because she told the lady that she was coming back in a day. So she's coming back to the town. I love the line right before they switch forward. I'm sorry, I missed this part. So I love the line where he's walking with her, and he's like, okay, they have, you know, this many guys, and here are these are the guards she has here, and then she has the one hired kind of security guy, and he goes, hey, a Jedi and a Mandalorian, they'll never see it coming, you know. So I was like, okay, cool, that was awesome. So forward, She comes up to the front gate. They start ringing the big alarm. This scene, this next part is so awesome. She jumped up on top of the big gate, takes the lightsaber, slices the gong in half and kicks it off, uses the force, pulls the gun from one guy and hits the other guy, turns back to the guy that she took the gun from and just gives him a look like, really, dude? And he takes off running. God, again, she was such a badass, but perfect Ahsoka Tano kind of badass. Because I was kind of worried they were going to OP her up too much, but I thought it was like...
Yeah, I was worried that they were going to make her like that snarky, like, I have a quick comment for everything I do. And I was like, although I did want a taste.
Yeah.
But she's clearly been, she's just bitter now, like at the end of the show, bitter.
I mean, it's a more mature... She's got to be pushing, like... I mean, if this is after Empire and everything, she's got to be pushing like 50 at this point. Ahsoka Tano, the character. I mean, like, so she's got to be about the same age as Baby Groot is. So, Groot, baby. Yeah, Grogu. See,
it's already started.
Yeah, I know, right? So, anyway, so she's taking out all the exterior guards. All of a sudden, Mando flies down in the bottom, and he saves the guys that are in the big electric things. They have people like tied up in these giant electric torture things or whatever, and he saves them. And then you see the main security guy, Ahsoka gets into a fight with him, and she almost kills him, but then two droids come up and drop down, and she ends up having to fight the droids. So then the security guy runs away and runs right into Mando. So then they have the big stare down. And so it's straight out, it was like Westerns meet like samurai movies, right?
They did. They actually showed there was a clip, not a clip. It was a scene from, I think it was 27 Ronin, where the main protagonist meets I don't quote me on the name of the movie, but it's one of those samurai movies where they're all lined up, and then the the protagonist walks down like an alley. Yeah, it was exactly like it. It was incredible.
Yeah, dude, and that's again some of the biggest influences with this show. It's Westerns and it's the old samurai movies and the old kung fu movies. So that perfect scene, I thought it was really awesome, especially when you see Mando on one side and then you got the other guy, the security guy or whatever on the other side. But behind Mando, you see Ahsoka on top of the border there, and then she just jumps down, and she's going to go after the main villain. And then you got Mando and this guy, and the guy starts talking to him, and that guy, I forget the actor's name right now, but he played in the movie Unforgiven. And the line that he says, "I have no quarrel with you," is a direct Easter egg from that movie. He says that same exact line in the movie Unforgiven. So he says, "I have no quarrel with you." Yeah. So that's a straight up movie Easter egg right there. And then they flash over to Ahsoka, who walks in, and this scene, it's kind of the same thing right there on both ends. So you got the main villain on one side and you got Ahsoka on the other, but it reminded me so much of the scene from Kill Bill with because the ambiance with
Lucy Liu.
Yes, because of the ambiance with all the plants and everything. So like I felt like that was kind of built like that. And then they start fighting. And it kind of goes back and forth. So you see them fighting, and then you go back over to Mando and this other guy, and they're just staring at each other, getting ready. And the guy keeps saying to him, he's like, "Look, like, who do you think's going to win, your guy or my guy?" And basically he goes, "I don't care either way. This fight really isn't worth that much to me." Goes back over to the Ahsoka fight again. Finally, Ahsoka... And here's the thing. So the lady's fighting Ahsoka with the Beskar spear, which I thought was really cool. And again, it shows how Beskar can't be, it doesn't get affected by lightsabers.
Yeah, that's why the Mandalorians were Jedi hunters, because their armor saved, kept them safe from lightsabers.
Yeah. Yes. So, I mean, she's holding her own against a fully... full-blown Jedi, basically. So she's holding her own against Ahsoka, but eventually Ahsoka gets the best of her, gets the upper hand, and stops with the lightsaber right here, and she's like, "Now you're going to tell me what I want to know." And then that's when they go back over to Mando and the other guy, and the guy's like, well, I guess your guy won, starts setting down his gun, but you knew it was going to happen. So Mando starts to drop his hand, and you knew the dude had like a side holster or something, and sure enough, he reaches for another gun, and Mando just pops him, and that's it. So, and then basically they start wrapping up the episode. So obviously the town is saved. Mando and Ahsoka are walking out of the town. The old man, they're putting this cloak on the old man. So
yeah, he's got his mayoral garb on.
Yeah, I'm the leader. I don't know what I did, but like, 'cause he didn't really do anything the whole episode. But
don't talk to me.
Yeah, don't talk to me. Oh, let's make this guy a leader. He didn't want to talk to anybody. There you go. So he's the leader of the town now. He's the mayoral garb, and then Ahsoka and Mando are walking out, and she's like, well, where's the kid? He's like, the kid's in the ship. How did she not know the kid was in the ship, by the way? Because wasn't she with him the whole time?
Maybe being polite.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So he's like, the kid's in the ship. I'll go get him. So he goes to the ship, and the kid's sleeping. Grogu, I got to get used to the name. Grogu is sleeping. And so he's like, hey, wake up, kid. It's time to say goodbye. There's your emotional point, right? You think, okay, he's going to turn him over to Ahsoka. And then it pans out to the back of ship, and there's Ahsoka standing there at the back of the ship, and she comes up and says, I can't train him. I won't train him. And he's like, we had a deal. And she's like, look. And then she tells him that, go to, do you remember the name of the planet?
No, another planet.
Yeah, I know, another planet. And I know this planet it's something, I think it was in Rebels. So, but she's like, go to this planet, and there's a temple there. Every time they say Jedi temple, by the way, I just like think of a pyramid. I don't know why. But she's like, there's this temple there. Take him to the top of the temple and set him down on that, and he should be able to reach out with the Force to another Jedi of some type if anybody will answer. She's like, that's the best I can offer. And so he's like, okay. They get in the ship and fly off, and you see Ahsoka walking away into the mist, and that's how the episode ends. So, did I miss anything?
Yeah, you missed a big one.
I did. All right, I'm going to let you drop this one. Go ahead.
Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Yes.
Is back.
So that...
Huge.
Yes.
Because now we know who the big bad is.
Yes. Well,
we know that not Giancarlo Esposito, but Moff Gideon.
Yeah, that's
Giancarlo. Immediate. Yeah, he's the immediate bad guy.
Yeah.
Now we know the ultimate evil, which is, there's Darth Vader, and then there's the Emperor.
Yeah.
Now we have Moff Gideon, and now we have Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Yes.
And Grand Admiral Thrawn is next level. I mean, I think worse than the. This is what I'm basing it off the books that I've read. Mm-hmm. I watched a little bit of the Rebels and stuff. So he's like super smart, super cunning. Just like the ultimate bad guy.
Yeah. So yes, and he had a big role in Rebels as well. So I didn't read the books yet, although they are definitely on my list of stuff. I just started on the Bane books, but anyway. So Thrawn had a big role in Rebels.
The Bane books are awesome. By the way.
Yeah, dude, the first one I just got through was so good. I think I read it out of order though, but I don't care. It was so good. But anyway, but Thrawn, like you said, very cunning, very smart, very intellectual guy. I'm curious to know the relationship. Does Thrawn even know of Moff Gideon? Do they? Because the Empire is so broken up. Who knows if they even know about each other? There's so many questions about that, and we didn't actually see Moff Gideon, which or not Moff Gideon, Grand Admiral Thrawn. She just the baddie. When she's interrogating her right at the end, when she gets the upper head, she's like, where is Grand Admiral Thrawn? So I'm just curious to know, will we see him this season? What's his relationship with Moff Gideon? Does he even know of his existence? How is this all going to tie in? Is this going to be an Ahsoka Tano spin-off series, or are they going to tie that thread up?
Oh, that'd be so great.
Right? So, like, there's so many questions now. So let me ask you, what do you think their arc is with this? Do you think they're going to tie it up in Mandalorian? Do you think they're going to tie it up next season? Do you think we're going to see Thrawn this season? What do you think?
I think we're going to see Thrawn this season in the way we saw Thanos at the end of Avengers when he puts on the gauntlet, or when he's like, "Fine, I'll do it myself."
Yeah. I
think we're going to see Thrawn in that capacity. Very quick, his red eyes, blue skin. Like I'll basically take care of this. Before that, I thought Moff Gideon was going to play a bigger role.
Yeah.
I think Moff Gideon dies this season as like the climactic, the last fight.
Yeah.
And then we get a shot of Moff Gideon, one of the soldiers coming up to Moff Gideon like, we lost. I think he does know about Moff Gideon.
Yeah.
Because in the books, the Grand Admiral Thrawn wanted to, it's been a long time since I've read them, but I think he was trying to clone the Emperor.
Oh, okay. All right.
Don't quote me on that. I know one of the 75 books I read, there was a big cloning the Emperor arc and I'm thinking it was the Grand Admiral Thrawn books, and I'm not sure.
But if that's the case, then that could explain some of the experiments that's going on.
Exactly. That was my first thought, because that ties back to that stuff. But I don't know. But like I said, I think it's... God, man, I keep forgetting his name. Giancarlo Moff Gideon dies.
Yep.
Moff Gideon dies this season, and we see a quick cut of, hey, I'm gonna take care of this now.
Yeah. I tend to agree with you. I think Moff Gideon's going to be kind of the baddie at the end of this season that they have to take down, and I think we're going to see if we do see Thrawn, it's kind of just that one little shot at the end and setting up for next season for the big battle. Although, and here's where, because Thrawn has a lot of and especially in like Rebels, Thrawn has a lot of history with the Mandalorians. And so we saw Bo-Katan earlier. So there's a chance that, with Bo-Katan, that they can maybe spin off that series too. I've heard rumors about that. So it's possible that arc could go over there too. Or maybe Thrawn might just be kind of this overarching bad guy throughout multiple series, because we know we're getting the Boba Fett series for sure. And then there are rumors that we're going to possibly get the Mandalorian, like the spin-off, the Bo-Katan, and then a possible Ahsoka Tano. So many questions as far as that stuff is concerned. But if it doesn't go that route, I think you're right. I think they're going to tease Thrawn as the bad guy for next season. But still, what a big name drop. What a big moment. And yeah, I can't believe I missed it, the explanation of the episode. But what a big name drop. I did not expect that or see that coming. So that was good.
No, not one bit. I was very surprised, because that's very ambitious.
Yeah.
But I thought it was very smart. It's a bad guy that you could ask 90% of Star Wars fans, because a lot of people didn't watch Rebels, and they would have no idea who Thrawn is. So you can do a lot with that character, and it's a smart move, because it's not like they made the mistake with Rise of Skywalker, where they bring back the Emperor. He's pegged into, if you bring back the Emperor, you bring back Darth Vader or something silly like that, you're pegged into a corner of what they are. Mm-hmm. This opens a lot of doors. Plus, I think the Jedi that they're going to bring back is going to be Ezra from Rebels.
Yeah.
I think they're going to, they're really tying a lot of stuff into the, even though I haven't watched them, I know they're tying a lot into Rebels. I know they're tying a lot into Clone Wars. Mm-hmm. So I think Ezra is going to, because the older guy died, right? The guy with the ponytail?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he died. So
why can't I think of his name right now? Yeah,
starts with a K.
The
K,
blind
K,
Kanan.
Kanan.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
It's been out for a few years.
Yeah.
I didn't even watch it. I know. So
yeah.
I think they're going to tie it into Rebels. I think they're doing it really well. They're doing it piece by piece. They're not dumping it onto you.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is going to happen. But, you know, who knows? We've been wrong before.
I know, right? It's so hard to predict all this stuff, but that's the fun part. I love it, man. I love trying to like tie all the theories together. And
honestly, and I just totally forgot what I was going to say. Every week they're hitting us with, which is a good thing, hitting us with more questions.
Yeah.
You're like, you know, like we're not getting anything paid off. We haven't gotten one thing paid off yet.
Yeah, they keep just adding another thread and another thread and another thread, another storyline. Like but what I do think, and what I think Jon Favreau is so good at, is I think he's going to wrap up most of it by the end. Usually, and I mean, what do we have? Only 3 episodes, right? So he's got 3 episodes to take all these threads that he's had and get them all tied up and for the rest of the season. So
yeah, I think, but by the way, another short episode.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard the next one is shorter. This one was 45 minutes. So this past one was a good one. But yeah, I heard the next one's a pretty short one, which again, you know, that's par for the course with Mandalorian, you know, 35, 45, an hour, you know, they just kind of jump all over the place. But, okay. So before we get into, your kind of full thoughts on the full episode here, really quick, you guys, if you're watching, start hitting us up with comments. So comment below. We're going to take live comments if you guys got them. So hit us up with comments, and then also
questions.
Yes, comments, questions, man.
concerns.
Talk to
we
us,
can
man.
Handle it.
Yes. And also don't forget the tip link as well, streamlabs.com/movieidiot. If you want to go that route, that helps support the channel and everything.
Oh,
and
Mike, can I do a quick shout out to new fans of ours?
Please hit it up, man. Go for it.
Angela and Jake Smetana. I know if you're listening to this, you're putting up your Christmas decorations. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.
All right. Thank you, Angela and Jake. All right, cool. All right. So that being said, Jake, overall thoughts on the episode now that we've gone over everything, kind of more in detail. Go for it, man. Hit me.
Love the fighting. Love the lightsaber. I really love the very opening scene, where we're so used to Jedis. There's guys shooting at me. And they just, and run straight at him and kill him. We got that, you know, on, off, shoot, kill somebody, cut them off, disappear, ran up to the next guy, you know, like appeared behind the next guy, turned him on, cut him, turned him off. I love that. I thought that was awesome. I always liked it when the Jedi appeared. Sometimes I feel like the fighting they made them do was a little too. They always use Jedi in a weird way to me. You know, in the books and stuff, they talk about how powerful they are, and you never see how powerful they are in the movies. But then in the same time, they always seemed invulnerable to me. And I know that sounds dumb because we watched a ton of them get killed, but like they'd have 30 guys shooting at them, and they'd be like, and I like that where it's a little more dirty fighting, where you're cut one, run. I like that a lot. Go ahead.
Oh, so I was just going to add to that really quick. I agree on the fighting stuff. I do. That scene, how she's just in and out of the mist, and it was almost like Batman with lightsabers. It was really cool. Like how she just would sneak up behind people, take them out, and gone. Just like poof, see ya. And to go with what you're talking about, I feel like Star Wars in general over the years, like you have scenes where like they can run really fast, jump really high, and then you have other scenes where it's like, really, you died like that? You're a Jedi, you know? I think it's been very inconsistent. So, but I thought it was a perfect level to have her at. You know, like I didn't feel like she was complete, you know, unbeatable, and yet she was definitely more skilled than everybody there.
Yes, and that's how I always felt like when Mace Windu died. Like he was still alive in the air, and Jedi he shouldn't have hit the ground and died. So that's why it's like that kind of stuff always bugged me about Star Wars. They're like, well, he died from the fall. You're like, what? But I saw, you know, Obi-Wan jumped down from rafters 200 feet and landed like fine. So it's that was nice to see that. Like you said, it was a very well balanced.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with Mace, Palpatine had the high ground, so it was over.
He was on his back.
No, once he fell out of the window, then he had.
Oh, sure. Okay. Yes. If they have the high ground, they're instantly dead.
It's over. That's the Jedi's weakness. If they're below you,
you're higher than It's over for me. I didn't know. If you're on a hill, it is over for a Jedi.
Oh man,
think of that.
Which
Go ahead.
Really quick, I'm sorry. I thought it was really funny how in the village scene, Ahsoka jumped up on the roof and she's like hitting all the bolts or whatever. They're shooting the guns at her or whatever, and she's hitting all the blaster stuff. And immediately I went, she's on the high ground. They're screwed. It's over. It's like
unbeatable.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, man. I keep cutting you off.
I did want to talk about my favorite shot. Almost, I think that I can remember of the entire series is where Mando was standing in the foreground and Ahsoka is on the wall behind him.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, I was like, that is a great shot of this show. Like, great art direction. Loved it.
Dude, there are so many shots like that in this show that I just want to have framed. Like, there are just so many, you know, like, I don't mean this episode, I mean specifically the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Just, they always have, it seems like, one shot an episode where it's like, God damn, that is just a badass shot. And yes, when she's standing behind him on the wall like that, that was perfect. I thought that was amazing. Yeah, great shot.
Did you notice at the end when they were flying away, Ahsoka looked at the ship, smiled, and then gave like a quick and I was like, I wonder what that was about.
You know,
I don't think
I saw her make a face. I didn't really think much of it. I mean, I've seen the episode 3 times now, but I'll have to watch it again now.
Yeah, watch that scene because she smiles as they're leaving, and then does like she sensed something face.
Yeah. Huh.
And I just don't think that would be an act. That wasn't Dave Filoni saying like, hey, just do it, make a face.
Yeah.
I feel like there was something, and I mean, I could be very much taking it too literal, but I feel like there was a reason that she made a face like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I again, I'll have to watch it again because I didn't think that much of it when I saw it. But you might be right. I mean, maybe she sensed something, or I don't know. I'm very curious to know and figure out where they're going to go from here because, like every week we do our bold predictions. I mean, mine are usually never on, but
I haven't had one on yet.
Yeah.
Oh, and I did want to talk about. She didn't mention how powerful Grogu was in the Force, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, I kind of thought so too, because I was fully expecting the line of, oh, he's very powerful with the Force, and she didn't say anything like that. But you can tell, I think, I want to stop short of saying she was afraid of him, but you can definitely tell, like, I don't want to train him. Like, well,
I think she's so scarred from seeing the guy that raised her.
Well, yes,
arguably.
And that's true, but I think the point is if he wasn't strong with the Force, I don't think she'd feel that way. Like, if he wasn't a being,
I can train him.
Yeah, she'd have been like, oh, okay, whatever. But since I feel like she's probably sensed how much power this being has, and especially if she's comparing him to Yoda. I mean, obviously he looks like Yoda, but I don't think her comparison to Yoda was about his looks. I think it was about his power. I think
I see. I took it the exact opposite way. I took it as I took it as I've only seen this kind of thing one other time. I mean, I took it very literal.
I'm sure it was maybe a combination of both, but I really do think that it was power as well. I've only seen a being, because she said, I've only seen a being like this, where I feel like if she was going to say, I've only seen this species before, I've only seen, like, she literally is, I've only seen a being like this one other time. And I felt, again, and maybe that's just me reading too much into it, but I thought she was talking about the power that he possessed. I feel like that's where she was going with that. I could be wrong, but like that's just my thought on that. But all right, so I'm gonna give kind of my overall thoughts now. Oh wait, sorry, are you done? Did you? I can't remember.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, all right, cool. All right, so my overall thoughts. Yes, the fighting was great. I was worried about that. I was worried they were gonna either have her come in, because I said, I have this thing with Dave Filoni, and I And I do have to say, because I have criticized him over and over and over again, this episode was great. Not just good, great. The writing, the direction, there were a couple little things. I do feel like he even did this in Clone Wars and Rebels. He jumps around a lot. So, like, he doesn't stick, like, almost like at the end, right? So they're jumping between Mando and Ahsoka, and that's just a very Dave Filoni thing. I think he has ADD. I don't think he can focus on one thing too long.
That's one of the things I don't like about Clone Wars. That's why I do have trouble watching it, because I'm like, oh my God, just let me watch the story, man.
Yeah, but that's it. That's my only critique. Everything else is awesome. The choreography's great. The visual aspect of the world. Did you notice the big creatures in the background, by the way, when he landed?
Oh yeah, they're eating the trees.
Yeah. So I thought that was cool. Like the whole world, the visuals, everything. I thought as much as I criticized Dave Filoni, this episode was exponentially better than the ones he did before. And
yeah, there was not one thing in this episode where I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Not one. I didn't have one thing.
It's definitely one of the best episodes so far, and not just because. And that's the other thing I wanted to get to, is because I was worried. Okay, this is the Ahsoka Tano episode. Here we go, but it really wasn't about her. She was in it, and she's part of the plot, and she moves it forward. But it didn't surround her. She didn't take over the show. This episode was about Grogu. It's about Baby Yoda.
It was about the Mandalorian and Grogu. She was part of the process to get where they need to go. I thought the same thing, because I thought it was going to be, let's dive into her backstory. She's going to be sitting by a campfire, and they find her, and she talks about how she fell out with the Jedi, and I was like, and it didn't happen at all, which I was very surprised.
Yeah, and I was so happy about that. She was the supporting character that she was supposed to be. She's not. This isn't the Ahsoka Tano show, and I'm sure it probably pained him, but he did exactly what he was supposed to do, and he made her the supporting character, and he brought her to life in the best way possible. I completely thought Dave Filoni crushed it. Rosario Dawson was amazing as Ahsoka. She was awesome. Again, bringing that character to life. I felt like she played a more mature, I'd mentioned this before, but she played a more mature version of Ahsoka. Because, in Clone Wars, she's a kid. She's a teenager, basically. And then in Rebels, she's a little bit older. She's probably like in her 30s. And here, she's pushing 50. And you could see that development as a character. And I think Rosario Dawson did a great job of bringing that to life. I thought that was great. I liked the villain. I can't remember her name to save my life, but I like the villain.
Bruce Lee's niece, or
Bruce Lee's goddaughter or whatever. Yeah, so I thought she did a great job. The Beskar, I know that Beskar spear is going to come in handy, because that's the other thing. Rosario Dawson gave him the spear, so Ahsoka Tano gave him the spear. So the Mandalorian has that Beskar spear.
Oh, I completely missed. I did not see that part.
Yep, before they left the village, she gives him the spear, and he goes, "Well, I didn't."
Oh yes. It belongs with Mandalorian.
Yeah. So she gave him the spear, and so that spear, I think, is gonna come into play for sure. Plot point in big giant letters. It's coming, and I think it has to do with the Darksaber. I think he's going to use it to fight Moff Gideon with the Darksaber. That's the only thing in my eyes that would make sense anyway.
Oh, that'd be pretty sweet.
Oh, dude, I think that'd be awesome. I thought the villain was really good. Just again, one of the better episodes for sure. I wouldn't call it the best, but it's right up there with some of the best episodes we've seen in Mandalorian. I really enjoyed it. Just great all around. So that's kind of my.
I don't think, and this is going to sound weird, but I don't think this episode was as good. Because what was last week's episode? Remind me. I'm sorry.
It was not the one with Bo-Katan. It was the one after. It was the one where they raid the. It was the one Carl Weathers directed it. The one where they raid the base. I
don't think this episode was as good as that episode.
Really?
And I don't. But I think it was a great episode.
Yeah.
I think this was which is actually a testament to the episode, because you'd think Dave Filoni would be like, let's go all out on this episode because Ahsoka's in it.
Yeah.
Let's get. This was just. It was a great episode. It was not as good as last week's with the stormtroopers on the speeder bikes.
Yeah, I guess. I never thought. Now I'm gonna have to really think about that. I liked initially, just my initial thoughts. I liked this episode better, but I think for me it is the Ahsoka Tano factor. I think that I think that really just pushes it over. But yeah, now that I think about it, I mean, if I take the episode as a whole, last week's episode probably was a little bit better.
Yeah, because take out Ahsoka, right?
Yeah,
and just put in a generic Jedi that you don't know.
Yeah,
this episode is not as good.
It's not as good,
in my opinion.
And the other thing that makes this episode so big is the Grogu, the name drop. Like the name, the bomb, and then the Thrawn drop too. There were two big.
You got 3 big reveals.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as strong of an episode, just in a purely technical way.
Yeah.
If you remove the things like, because that episode didn't have any of, it had like a tease of maybe it was.
Well, it had the cloning thing and, that kind of thing. The big reveal that the clone and the big reveal to the main characters that, Moff Gideon is still alive. But other than that, it's not.
But we already knew all that.
Yeah, but we knew that, but they didn't. But we didn't know about the cloning thing though. But the big bombs that they dropped in this episode, definitely. Yeah, I think you're right. If you take out like some of those big wow factor things, yeah, technically I think the episode was a little bit better last week. But this episode is really good, and with Dave Filoni, that was my big worry because his episodes were the weakest last year. There's no question.
And that's, I think it's even further testament to the power of this season. It is they're doing a really good job. This is like I keep thinking this is like early seasons Game of Thrones good.
Oh, nice! Wow.
Where I'm, not skip the first season, but when you get into like second and third seasons of Game of Thrones, I mean, I hate to say this, but the last season of Game of Thrones really tainted the everlasting memory of that show.
Well, they really rushed that. They really rushed the last season.
Absolutely. I don't even, but like nobody talks about Game of Thrones anymore.
No?
Game of Thrones was huge for years. And now it's like, oh yeah, Game of Thrones. But I'm saying, remember how like every Sunday you'd be like, this show is amazing.
So I never got past season 1 of Game of Thrones because I couldn't get through it. I saw 4 episodes of Game of Thrones and I was out. I couldn't do it.
Oh my God, it's so good.
And that's what everybody says. They're like, you have to get through season 1. That's the worst season other than the last season. But at the time, the last season hadn't happened yet. And everyone's like, you got to get through season 1. That's the worst season. After that, it gets so much better. Which I plan on binging it at some point. But I never. But I mean, I know all the major plot points. You couldn't help but know. And so like but yes, you're right. And that's what Mandalorian is right now. It's every week. It's must view. That's why we have shows like this. It's the weekly release.
Who don't watch Star Wars that are watching this show.
Well, that's actually a great segue to the next question I was going to ask you. So the last 2, even 3 episodes, I would say, definitely kind of open that curtain a little bit more where, okay, this is inside baseball now. Now you're getting Bo-Katan. Now you're getting, the raid on the base last week. You're getting Ahsoka Tano now. Now all the Star Wars junkies that, are fully into this are like, oh my God.
Yeah, the switchboards are lighting up.
Yeah, but the question I have for you is, do you think that's affecting the casual fans? Do you think it's getting a little too inside baseball, or do you think they're able to keep up? I'm curious to know, and I'm going to start looking for it a little bit more in videos and whatnot out there just to see casual fans' reactions. Like, who is Ahsoka Tano? What is, so what do you think on that? Do you think the casual fans are getting scared off with some of that?
No, I don't think so, because they're not doing. So let's look at it like this. We don't know anything about the big bad Moff Gideon. We don't know anything about him. Mm-hmm. Ahsoka Tano, that's what I liked about it. They didn't dive back into her backstory. you don't need to know who she is.
Yeah.
She's a Jedi. She wouldn't train him. That's it. Grand Admiral Thrawn, we don't really know anything about Grand Admiral Thrawn because, they got rid of the books. I mean, we know a little about him from Rebels. Yeah. So it's not like it's not like even hardcore fans know anything that's going to happen because this is very uncharted territory. So I think they're doing it in the right way where it's like, hey, we can get the hardcore fans because they know Thrawn, they know Ahsoka Tano, they know Bo-Katan. But we can still keep new people because this show, if you said this show, let's take all Star Wars away, this show stands alone. It stands on its own 2 feet very well.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree. I was worried that, especially when they start introducing, especially Ahsoka Tano, I was very worried that was going to get very inside baseball. But I do feel like if you don't know anything about Clone Wars or Rebels, you go into this. I mean, most people have probably seen the main 9 movies, right? Like, at that point, like most people, even your casual fans, are probably going to have seen the main 9 movies. But other than that, Ahsoka Tano, you won't know. But all they know is this is a Jedi. That's all. He found a Jedi. This is a Jedi. That's her name, Ahsoka Tano. And again, us who are, so it's good for them. They get the Jedi. They get the reference, and the point, and then it pushes the plot along on whether to train. Oh, why won't she train him? What is she referring to? Now, if you've seen, the main 9 movies, you're going to understand that when she says, I can see what that can do to the best of us, she's talking about Vader. Most likely. So now most people don't know that he was her master per se, but they're still going to know that that's the reference most likely that she's referring to. So I feel, so on that point, you're definitely right. I feel like it's not too inside baseball. I really worry about that part because it does definitely, like, look, the success of the show, as much as me and you and other people are, hardcore Star Wars people, and you more than me, but like where like all the things. If we lose the casual crowd, this show is not going to last. Like that's
I'm not worried about that for 1 second. People, and that's why they were smart with Baby Yoda. I mean, you give them that little cutie doing funny things.
Got him.
You give them that, and that drug people in. Yep. And now it's like, and now they're like, oh, who's Grand Admiral Thrawn? I want to see this. This show is, I mean, this is what is keeping Disney alive right now. And I don't mean that literally.
No, but you're totally right.
But I mean, like they have no other
to be honest,
properties that are doing.
To be honest, literally. Like, there's nothing else on Disney Plus right now that's new. They don't have a new thing until the movie Soul hits on December 25th, and then after that, they don't have another new thing until WandaVision in January. So, literally, this is what is keeping Disney alive right now, because their parks are closed.
And I'm surprised, they're laying off 4,000 more people very soon. Man. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw very soon an Ahsoka show, a Boba Fett show, because like I said, just like with the movies, now they're going to just start crushing us with content.
Yeah,
it might not be bad if if Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are in charge of these vehicles. I think we're in store for a lot of good content on TV.
So
I think movies are going to fall to the wayside for quite a few years.
So now that you mentioned that, here's another question I have. And you guys at home too, if you're watching, comment below, like hit us up with some questions and comments here, but this goes out to you and everybody else at home. So on that note, do you think that Star Wars is definitely going to shift more to these interconnected shows instead of doing movies? Because their next movie was supposed to come out in 2022, which is obviously going to be delayed. So do you think at this point that's what they're going to go with, these interconnected shows instead?
Yeah, 100%. They're cheaper. They're easier. They're selling the merchandise they want. So I couldn't see them. Why risk it with a movie where you don't hey, I'm going to spend $100 million to make the next Star Wars movie and then not be able to show it anywhere.
Yeah, Yep.
And then show it on TV anyway.
Yeah, and then it has to go streaming anyway, which I think I agree. I think because Disney has made a clear push in their structure where they're shifting to the online release. So they're pushing everything shifting to Disney Plus. They're shifting to what they call a direct-to-consumer format. So this falls right in line with that. And honestly, I think it's working so much better. And I think what they should do is they should have Favreau be in charge of the whole kind of over arc of the shows, and then have him be the showrunner of the shows, and then he can do what he's been doing, just hire directors to come in and to write and direct the episodes. As long as they fit, he could be like the Kevin Feige of Star Wars,
Yeah, I mean, it's going well, so why wouldn't they do it?
Yeah, I think that would be awesome. And again, to see a Bo-Katan, to see an Ahsoka Tano show, to see
Well, they're doing the Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan's on the books, and Boba Fett is on the book. Those are confirmed. So Boba Fett and Obi-Wan are confirmed. But those other shows, and then to interconnect them, dude, I think it'd be amazing. I think that's a cash cow for them. And I think you're right. I think they're going to do it. And then what I think they'll do is they will do a Star Wars movie probably in another 3 years, because they still want to do. I know Kevin Feige from Marvel actually wants to do a Star Wars movie. That's one of the things that.
Yeah, and I think they should. And I think you make it a completely different movie from what we've seen, and it'll be great.
And I think what they'll do is they'll move forward in that. That'll be introducing you to new characters and pushing.
Oh yeah. It's not, the saga is done. That Star Wars as we know it in the film form. Yeah. Except for maybe the shoot-offs, it's over. There's not going to be any more things we know. So it's exciting, but although, like I said,
they I did hear that they want to do an Old Republic movie. So that was one of the things that's on the but that's prequel format. That's even pre the prequels. So that's
that's thousands of years before the prequels.
That's way back. But so other than that, I think though they probably movie wise they'll probably move forward. So anyway, we kind of got way off on another thing here. So final thoughts on the episode, and then of course bold prediction. Go.
All right, so I'm going to do I have to score everything. So I'm going to last week I gave it a 9.25. I'm going to go with a very solid 9. So a 9. All right. So not as good as last week, like we said, but very good episode. Yeah. Bold prediction. I'll go bold. We see Thrawn in the next 2 episodes. I think maybe if I'm being crazy, we see Thrawn sooner than later.
Okay.
In some capacity. Standing on a Star Destroyer, like Darth Vader watching, or Kylo Ren watching the Starkiller base shoot off, something like that. Yeah. So there's my bold prediction. We see Thrawn sooner than later.
Okay. All right. So mine, I'm going to go with, like you, solid 9. I'm going to give it a solid 9. I still am not going to quit. I think technically you're right. I think last week's episode was a technically better episode, but for me, I'm sorry, seeing Ahsoka that was awesome. It's just,
and you have the connection. I don't have that connection with her.
Yeah, and they did such a great job with it that I can't help but think I really just enjoyed that episode more. But so I'll give it a solid 9 out of 10. And then bold prediction. Oh man. Well, my bold prediction last week definitely failed. Ahsoka did not die. Let's see. Bold prediction. Okay, bold prediction. They get to the temple, the Jedi temple, and they do it next week because they don't have many episodes left, and they really have to tie off stuff. Yeah, so he's got to get to the temple. I think they get to the temple. He puts Baby Yoda on the temple, and I'm going to go with Force Ghost Jedi reaches out to him. And I
was just about to. I was going to add on to my bold prediction. So we're very much in agreement then.
I think it's going to be Yoda.
I forgot to say it because when she said somebody will come, I was like, oh, it should be a Force Ghost. Yeah. I forgot to say that. Yes, I think I agree with you 110%.
Yoda or I will say this. I'm going to do kind of my B is it's going to be or Obi-Wan. It's Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. So that would be the other because that's a great segue.
Oh, yeah.
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 Because he's technically dead now in the Mandalorian time, but
Mm-hmm.
it's still a great tease to set up the Obi-Wan show.
Or we see some Hayden Christensen.
Oh my God, no way. Nope. Oh, I sense much fear in you.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But I agree. I don't think I'm not going to say this. I don't think that's very bold. I think that's very accurate.
I don't know. I mean, it just seems to be where I think it's going. I mean, they could maybe, tease Ezra, that because he's still out there. So that would be the only other Jedi that is known to be active right now,
right?
Other than Ahsoka. So there's a thought there. So it'll be very interesting to see. But I did think it was really good. So kind of before we close out the show, I did have one tip comment that got sent in. This one was by Del Mackey. Del Mackey sends in a tip. He says, "Hey guys, so Thrawn, didn't see that coming. Do you think we'll see him this season? And how does he fit in with Moff Gideon?" And we kind of answered that a little bit, but again, just to answer that again, Jake, go ahead. How do you see Thrawn fitting in with Moff Gideon, and will we see him this season?
Okay, so this is again based off the books, but I don't see why they would deviate. So after the Empire split, the Grand Admirals kind of all took over like their little pieces, some more than others, and then they kind of fought amongst each other to consolidate the Empire back together. Thrawn was the best one. He did it. They moved to a planet called Bastion, where the Empire still, it was in the unknown regions. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking that's the route they're going to take, and I think that Moff Gideon works for Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Okay, all right, cool. I'm gonna go the opposite route. I think you were kind of right, where I think if we do see Thrawn this season, it'll be like a quick tease right at the end. When you said that earlier, I think that's the thing. But I think actually, I don't think they know about each other. I don't think Thrawn and Moff Gideon know about each other. I think that both of them think the other is dead, and I think there could be contention even between them. This is pre-First Order, so we haven't gotten to that point. I think just Moff Gideon, the way he comes across with Giancarlo Esposito and the way he portrays that character, I don't see him serving under anybody. Right? Like, he looks like he wants all the power. He wants everything. And I don't know if he would serve. And if Thrawn is there, he's not serving under anybody. He's in charge. So, and especially with, no Emperor, no Vader, I mean, there's nobody to get in their way. So I think that's a conflict point. I think a point of contention where I feel like it's another kind of added storyline. And you know how Jon Favreau has so many different storylines going on. I felt like that's another one. That's just my thought on it. I don't know if or whatever, but I think that's kind of how I feel. So, all right. So, I think that's it for comments and questions and everything. So, Jake, thank you again, man.
Thank you,
dude. Awesome show today. And, I can't wait for next week. And, any closing thoughts before you go?
Nope. Just I'm just looking forward now. Every Friday I look forward to the next episode.
Yeah, dude, me too. And like you said earlier, it's very Game of Thrones-esque in the sense that everybody's talking every week now about this. Like, it's it's must-see TV, and then it's must-see talk, man. And I love it, man. And I love doing the show with you. So thanks, man, for coming on again. And I will catch you next week.
All right, thank you.
All right, man. All right, guys, and thank you all for tuning in. Another great spoiler discussion here for Mandalorian Chapter 13, and again, I just can't wait for next week, and I love where the series is going, and I love the way Favreau's tying it all up and doing everything, and it's gonna be fun. So very, very interested to see where it goes next week. Don't forget, guys, you guys. The main show, of course, is going to be on Friday, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, the main Movie Idiot Show. And then the next spoiler discussion for Mando, Saturday, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. So we're going to try and keep this time slot. Seems like you guys like it better. We get more people watching. So we're going to go with the Saturday, 9 a.m. time slot for now for the spoiler discussion. So don't miss that next week. Jake will be joining me for that as well. Of course, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, so we can build this awesome film and TV fan community, and we get some more interaction. So again, thank you all for watching. Also, by the way, if you guys feel so, the tip link is active. This is the tip link right here, streamlabs.com/movie idiot. It is active 24/7. So if you want to send in a tip, if you want to send in a tip or a comment, like let's say on Thursday, you think of something you want to talk about, you just send it in and we answer it on the main show. If you want it answered on the open spoiler discussions for Mandalorian, just do like, a hashtag or something. And you can do it again 24/7. Send it in anytime. So, again, thank you all for tuning in, and I will catch you all on the main show on Friday, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, right here on the Movie Idiot channel. And hope you all have a great week, and I will catch you all later. Peace.